Hey everyone, Adam Silverman here from Muletown Digital. Today I want to talk about 8 core things that your e-commerce product pages should have. So your product pages are, when somebody comes to your website and they click on all the things and they end up at the actual thing that you're trying to sell, that's like the product template. And we want to make sure that all of your products have these specific 8 things on the product page, because if you don't have them, you could be leaving money on the table with people not actually following through. So you want to urge them to add this thing to the cart. And the best way to do that is make sure that you've got these things solid on that product page. Thing number one is having high quality images. So a lot of people make this mistake. They build this beautiful website and then they've got yucky or very amateur looking pictures. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and in e-commerce, it's so true. I would say a video is worth potentially 100,000 words. So if you can get video on there about your product, even better. But the more that people can see your product and the more that it looks elegant and they're seeing it in lifestyle situations in different contexts, all of that makes a really, really big helper for you when it comes to getting people to actually go from looking at the product to making a purchase. The second thing is a clear and compelling title. So a lot of times people try to get fancy with these titles, and it's like they've got some big hero area at the top with some sort of statement, and like somewhere down here is like what the product is. Make sure the product name is something that makes sense. And we've seen this before where people are selling specialized instruments and it's like they've got the code name for the instrument. Well, if your consumer doesn't off the shelf know that code name, you can be spending a lot of time there getting people in there, and your users can be looking and going, I don't know if I want the 2131-6 or the 2141-2 or whatever, right? You want to make sure that the title is compelling. If it's, bolt alternator with whatever valve or whatever it is, make sure that that title is specific, and you can also utilize that to get your SEO keywords in. So make sure that you do some keyword research and know that people actually search for the product. If they don't, but they search for something like it, you might be able to tweak your product name to help you show up in those searches. The third is a detailed product description. A lot of websites absolutely do not have this. They just have the title and the price and add to cart. The product description allows people to understand the details of what's in your product. And I can tell you, after being on Amazon for so long now and buying, we buy a lot of stuff for our farm off of Amazon. We go to other websites as well, but Amazon is kind of a prime for us. Those product descriptions are what help us decide like which thing we want to buy. I think that they're probably the most important thing next to that title. So make sure your product descriptions talk about the value, what the thing does, the use cases, the benefits. Don't just write, this is a pink, jacket and it's, got 2 zippers. Like, really give detail about the product, because aside from the pictures, that's the next place people go to try to understand what it is that they're purchasing. Number 4 is obvious, but it gets missed, is to have your pricing on there. If you're going to do a call to get pricing, those can be really hard to do unless you're selling a massive product and you have a very specified audience. So if you can, get the pricing on there. And if you happen to be doing a discount or a sale or offer a coupon, show the original scratched out with what the price is now. That's an important distinction because it tells people, well, this thing's usually $350 and today it's $310. That sometimes can help encourage people to go off into the sales cycle. Let's see here. Number 6 would be customer reviews. So you want to encourage clients to review your products on your website, because that then allows you to post those reviews on your website. People trust products with lots of reviews, and they trust products that don't have all negative or all positive reviews. The standard is like 4.2 to 4.6 stars out of 5. If you can get those on your site, that is a massive trust factor and a growth opportunity for you, because people see that stuff and they trust it. They go, well, this product's had, 600 reviews and it's a 4.2, right? That tells people this is a good product. Lots of people have bought it, and then they can go look at those reviews to determine whether they want it. I have bought and not bought a lot of things based on the client reviews, particularly with our farm, because I don't always know. I'm kind of a quasi new farmer, so I don't know everything about all the things. So reading those people's comments helped me go, oh, if you have this, don't buy this one instead. That's really helpful stuff. And if you can provide it, it encourages them, it helps the client, and maybe they aren't buying the right thing, but in those reviews, it helps them find their way. So it's not only a trust factor, but potentially a conversion helper as well. Seventh thing is any sizing or product variants. You don't want to have people buy a product and then have to email them and say, did you want the large or the extra large, right? Or I'm sorry, its gallon comes in blue, white, and red. And the client doesn't know that. You want to make sure you get all your variants in there, all your variations. Some people treat those as different SKUs. Some people, they're amended SKUs. It's a lot of ways you could do it, but you definitely want to have that on there because it helps people see their options, right? Now, it can get crazy. We've got some clients that have a lot of options across their site. The more complicated the product is, the more options you have to deal with. But in the end, having all those options and variants there helps them customize or pick out the thing that they're trying to pick out. Number 8 is the shipping information. So you want to make sure to talk about things like your estimated delivery time, your shipping costs. If there's a specific return policy, like if you've got 30 days and no questions returned, or, those kind of things build trust with people as well. And by having those policies in place, it legitimizes your business, and it also helps them know what's going to happen when they say add to cart. If you got a $100 product that has a $50 shipping on there, you're probably better off to make the product $150 and you're shipping $0, but you would want to put on there that this thing ships at X dollars so the client is aware before they go through. Otherwise, you get them to abandon their cart, basically. They add it to the cart, go there and go, I don't want to pay 50% of the value of the product for shipping, I'm going to leave. You're better off to put it up front. So having that on there is helpful. And I would say number 9 potentially is like a little bit of a bonus thing, but you want to have trust badges or guarantees if you can. So guaranteed shipping time, guarantee of product working, secure checkout emblems. If you use Stripe or PayPal, like putting the pictures of those credit cards, anything that can legitimize, because there's a lot of fake websites out there. People are nervous about this. They want to be sure that they're actually buying from a legit business. And you can ensure that by kind of getting some of these badges on there. If you've got industry affiliations or Better Business Bureau or anything like that, that can be like, hey, this is really, really important and good stuff. And I actually just thought of a 10th one, which would be frequently asked questions or no's. So if you're selling, let's just say, car exhaust system, having in there things like what kind of hangers or what kind of cars it fits, or a way to ask if it fits your car, having how long did it take to install this, does it rust, just like all those kind of questions that everyone's going to ask, like how much horsepower will this add to my car? Anything you could do to kind of give people more and more and more information about the usage and the way the product functions, the more likely they're going to be to buy because they understand the product. If your client or your prospect is confused, you will lose. And that's always been the way that I've seen e-commerce is the more direct and the more information you give in a small package, the more likely people are to convert. Too little information, they don't trust you. Too much, it interferes with their user experience. You want to find that balance where you give them just enough to understand the product, to want the product, but you're not inundating them with every complicated detail unless your product requires that. A few extra things that you could potentially do, live chat is always a really good option. Having cross sells or related products on there is a really good idea. If you've got an item that's out of stock, allowing for sign up for notifications of restocking. That's got me numerous times with drum equipment where this thing's not available right now. So I sign up and 3 months later they go, hey, this thing's there. And I'm like, oh, I gotta buy it. it works. I know what they're doing every single time and it works for me, and I'll still buy that way. So having those kind of in-stock notifiers are good. Breadcrumb navigation to allow people to go back to a category, and particularly on mobile on your products, having, when the user's scrolling, having a button or something stuck to the bottom that says add to cart on your product pages, really helpful, because as the user is scrolling down, they always can find that button. You don't want them to have to, swipe their way back up to the top of the screen in order to see the checkout button. Once they start scrolling, it's really nice if you can fix a add to cart on the bottom. That's always a really helpful thing. So I said 8 things, I think, at the beginning. Maybe there was 10, maybe there's 15, but hopefully that'll help some of you guys with e-commerce just improve your conversion rate, because having the right solo single product page, really, it can be a make or break for your business as far as, your conversion goes. So you want to make sure that you get all these things in there in a tasteful way, help the user make a good decision, make the decision clear, and make it very easy for them to make the decision and go to the next phase. So I hope this helps you guys. If you got an e-commerce site that you're having issues with, or it's not selling, or it's just not what you want it to be, we definitely specialize in e-commerce. We do a lot of work in e-commerce, and we'd be happy to give you a look and tell you what we think and get you situated. It's amazing how much small changes on a product page can increase your money. So if you got good traffic coming in and it's like you're only getting a 1% return on that traffic, fix your product page and drive the traffic straight to it and see if you can get a better situation going there for you. And if you need help, of course, we're pros. This is all that we do every day, all day. So if you need our help, definitely reach out and we'll be happy to help you. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you soon.